Right, this is the Committee on Government Operations, Public Safety, Public Services. This is Monday, October 27, 2014. We're at 6:02 p.m. I have Councilor McKinnon.
Here.
I have Councilor Suchetta.
Here.
I have two members present. All right, the first piece of business, this is a resolution by Council Cynthia Sahani and Rosa DeFlorio that the Traffic Commission appear before the Committee of Public Safety, Public Service to explain the reason of the no parking sign at the top of Prescott Street.
Cynthia will be right here.
Okay.
We'll go out for 5 minutes.
Sal, invite Rosa up, Sal. Sal, invite Rosa up. Oh.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, that's fine. I'm just gonna go like this. I'm pretend I can't count today. We'll count separately.
Make a motion to invite Rosa DeFlorio up.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invite Councilor Rosa DeFlorio speak on this matter. She's a sponsor.
Councilwoman DeFlorio.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess from what I understand, we have some neighbors over here. I guess there's still an issue and a problem in regards to trucks going over the sidewalk. So I know the people from Cappy's are here. And there's also the neighbors. I don't know if you allow them to speak, how we want to handle this, but we'd like to get an answer from the administration, Melissa Murphy from Cappy's, and then the neighbors. If the neighbors have the right to speak, I believe they should speak.
Could we invite, make a motion, invite Melissa Murphy up before us, please?
I make a motion to invite Melissa Murphy up to speak on this matter.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Good evening, Melissa Murphy, Mayor DiMaria's Chief of Staff. How are you?
Good, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. So I guess the history of this item is that Cappy's requested a 15-minute parking spot, which I believe is what the agenda item is. A 15-minute parking spot. It was awarded by the Traffic Commission, but it was a provisional award. So in my conversations with Sergeant Bova, who's here, we could revisit that in a hearing with the Traffic Commission as far as the parking spot goes. As far as the trucks backing over the sidewalk, Jerry Navarra and Rick Milley have been working on that. So Jerry Navarra is in Constituent Services. Rick Milley is our Streets and Highways Director for City Services. They've been looking at that, and they're looking at a way that they may be able to put some type of bollard system in. It's a complicated situation because they're backing up basically at on a diagonal. So to find the exact spot where they're going to put those is a little complicated, but I know that there's a resident who's been worried about her sidewalk being cracked and her house being hit. So those are the steps that we've taken.
Do you know when that process would happen?
The bollard?
Yeah.
I think it could happen quickly. They met Councilor Sarni, or they're supposed to meet Councilor Sarni out there a few weeks ago, but I think it was a day that it rained, so they rescheduled. But if it's something as simple as putting bollards in, basically that sidewalk has to be broken out completely, and then the bollards have to be installed. So it's usually a couple of weeks process.
Okay, because I know the winter is upon us, and
Yes.
I don't think we want to go through the winter all over again with this. So my recommendation is that if that's the solution that we came up with, then we should have it done right away.
Yeah, and I mean, that solves the traffic, that solves the trucks backing up issue. I know last time that the Cappy's business was here, they did agree to use smaller trucks, and I'm sure that they would be willing to discuss that further, but I know that they did make a commitment to use smaller trucks, that they wouldn't have this situation happening as much, so you may want to discuss that further with them. But in the short-term solution, bollards, while not attractive, will solve the problem, so.
You have
Okay.
questions?
Um,
Of Melissa Murphy.
My council son,
Councilwoman Steiny, do you have any questions of Melissa Murphy?
Just on, I had some complaints, as you know, well aware, that we're still having problems down there on the sidewalk.
Yes, so I was just telling them twofold. One, that you had spoken with Jerry Navarra and Rick Milley about the bollards, that they do think it's a possibility, and that we're lining it up to have the sidewalk broken out and the bollards put in as a kind of a longer-term solution. I was suggesting that last time Cappy's was here, they did say that they would be willing to use smaller trucks, so maybe a discussion about that may be pertinent. And that Sergeant Bova is here from the Traffic Commission. He said that if there's still an issue with the 15-minute parking spot, which I believe is the item, then you know, the Traffic Commission could rehear the item because it was a provisional 15-minute spot. So they did it on a temporary basis.
Okay, I did speak briefly with Jerry, and he's gonna get back to me also. He mentioned maybe putting some more signs up also.
No
Instead,
parking
for, yeah, in this way, if they put another one on the other corner,
Yeah,
maybe.
sometimes keeps the trucks from being able to back up.
Right,
I mean, I try to do bollards as a last resort. You have to take the entire sidewalk panel out. You know, people tend to back into them because they don't see them, especially at night.
what's you saying, a
A
bullet?
bollard is basically you see them either, sometimes they're like, basically cement blocks, sometimes they're the silver guardrail that you basically see. So if you look on Chute Street, recently, I think last year, or the year before, we put in some silver guardrails kind of to protect the house. On Ferry Street, the house that was hit by the car, we put kind of a cement, more of like a cement block in. I mean, they're both solutions. They both will keep a truck from hitting your house and keep a truck from going up on the sidewalk, but because they're low to the ground and it's a truck, you know, it's not always the best solution. You know,
I would like to hear from the neighbors, especially from Mrs. McAvity regarding it's her home and in front of their home, and what they suggest, maybe what they would like to see there, maybe, I would say maybe trying a street sign, another one.
we can definitely try
And,
that.
and that would block cars, you know, the trucks coming up. And if that don't work, maybe we talked about maybe a flower pot.
Planters, yeah,
And we can do that for next year, but at least maybe put a street sign sooner.
yeah. Planters work well with cars, but because of the weight of the
They-
because of the weight of the trucks, you know, if they hit them, they hit a planter, it's just gonna kind of move.
Right.
You know, and so that's kind of what we've been thinking about. A sign may be a good solution because they're tall and they're reflective, you know, and it's something that we can put in easily.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't require as much work.
That might
as
be
a-
the quickest solution,
Yeah.
at least for the winter, putting, and I don't know if Councilor DeFlorio agrees with me, but maybe putting another sign up and getting it up on the corner, so this way they can't go either way in between,
Right.
you know?
What does the current sign there say? Is it a no parking or? a-
No parking, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if the,
Okay. And maybe we could just do a no park, depending how close they are to the corner, and I'm not really sure, we could maybe just do a no parking here at corner type sign, so that kind of takes that, you know, that's a little further up the street.
or our parking ordinance,
Yeah,
street
or
sweeping
snow sweeping,
sign,
or
street
snow,
signing
yeah,
sign,
snow
something.
shoveling, or snow, whatever, but, yeah, it's certainly an option.
What, excuse me,
Councilwoman DeFlorio?
what's the 15-minute parking sign? Where is that? I'm trying to picture it right now, and I'm just,
I
The-
believe it's directly in front of the resident's house, correct?
And they're
no.
saying
Is it
no.
across the street?
I don't know, Jed Bull would have to tell us where that's on.
Where's the
I
15-minute?
thought it was no parking from a certain time now. No parking from 9 to 5.
Oh, but there's no 15-minute. So no parking 9 to 5, where is that sign? Is it on,
The first, so many feet down.
on the right-hand side? Because I'm just concerned that the trucks have to make their turn somehow, and if the car's parked there, the trucks are not gonna be able to make the turn.
They got the sign there that's no parking.
But they're thinking of taking that down. Is that,
Well, if that's the, so basically what South Bova has said, that was provisional, and if it's the wish of the body and the residents, and they wanna have an additional hearing to have that sign taken down, the traffic commission would of course consider it.
I would think that would cause more problems if we took the sign down, because the trucks wouldn't be able to make the turns. I mean, we have to come up with a solution that we definitely have to please the neighbors, but we also have a business there.
It's
and
gonna
we
be
can't-
feasible to
you
both
know, we
parties.
can't keep throwing people out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to make it easier to do business with the people that are there, but also to please the neighbors. So I would assume that we could come up with a different solution, but I would think that if we take that sign down, now the trucks really would not be able, if there's cars parked across the street, there's no way they're gonna be able to get in and out of there. So that's basically, I don't care how small the truck is.
I'm not sure how they were doing it before, so the no parking 9 to 5 is only about 6 months old? About? More, a year? May, okay, so, maybe, maybe the Cappies could tell you how they were operating before and how it's better or worse now, if you invite them up.
I'd like to hear from Maccabees as well. Make a motion to
I
invite,
make a motion to invite Cappies.
motion made and seconded to invite Cappies Corporation up. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Could you state your name for the record, sir, and your position?
Larry Burak, Vice President of Cappies Importing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we've got a good solution. I mean, certainly in the spirit of either one more post or even maybe a nice planter or two that we could put there. And we would have no problem assisting with the cost of that, like at Cappies. Maybe some nice, couple of planters that would be, we could, put flowers in, seasonally. 'Cause
That would be very nice.
yeah, we would absolutely help pay for that, because it's, we're very concerned about the traffic safety and everything. And to answer your question, it does work a lot better when there's no parking, those two spots. As a matter of fact, our warehouse manager maintains a log, and there's been a few times since June, since we implemented the parking plan, which we showed everybody, that truckers weren't supposed to, but they did pull up. And we have a photograph of one time when there was a car in one of those two spaces. So when those spaces are available, a good trucker should be able to have no problem. And as part of the plan, they are calling in advance, and we're bringing our employees out to help bring the trucks in, to get them in quick, get them out. It does work. When the cars are there, that's when the problems exist. The couple of instances where they did still go on the sidewalk, they were reprimanded, we've called their company. So, it's gonna be a process where we've eliminated a lot of it, and we've eliminated the bad apples and the drivers. But I can't tell you it's been 100%, but it's really much, much better. And we've tried to reduce the amount of traffic and big trucks that come in. So I think it's been a very successful program, and we'll continue to do whatever it takes, including, like I said, just a couple of planters, and just make it so that those trucks have no chance to get on the sidewalk. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but as far as taking those signs down, because I really don't
Yeah.
think that affects the neighbors that much. It's only 9 to 5, so when people get home
Right.
from work, they have a parking space.
And just in addition to that, when they weren't there, two of our employees would try to get there and grab those spaces anyway, and then they would have to move when a truck came, and then they'd swing around the block, and then they might lose that space for the rest of the day, then the next truck has trouble getting in. So even if the signs aren't there, we were doing whatever we could to preserve that space so that we could, have those trucks pull in.
The other thing is, I know a lot of people come from Malden, they park in those areas and they take the bus into Boston. So maybe we could have the police start going by, and if there are cars parked there, if they're kind of residential, leave them alone, but.
I mean, it seems like there hasn't been any ticketing, because there has been cars there all day, and I certainly understand the sensitivity where you don't want to start, maybe with that, but ultimately, it probably should be enforced.
Now, I remember the last time that you guys were up here, they had mentioned that you wanted to go to some type of smaller trucks. Has that been done?
As much as we can. A lot of the trucks, like the bigger ones, tend to come from California. We have changed one of the carriers that we use. We have instituted a policy where they're doing more consolidation on the West Coast, so that instead of two trucks bringing a quarter of a load each, one truck brings a half a load. So yeah, I think if you go to Mike's log, the amount of trucks that come in of that size has gone down. We've asked all the local distributors to do the same.
So they're coming in with box trucks?
We're
instead
trying
of
to use
18.
straight jobs, yeah, so they don't have to worry about it. So, and I think the actual number has been reduced. We'll continue to work at that. And again, I think the biggest traffic issue was when you had a driver who was upset that those spots were taken, and he would, cause a scene and lay on his horn or do whatever, and we've eliminated all those type of people. We don't let them come back.
Yeah, because it's not being a good neighbor to the
Right,
community.
and everybody that we do business with knows that we have a very sensitive, we're in a residential neighborhood. So we've done a lot more work to make sure everybody knows, they get the cell phone number, they call Mike. So, I would say the whole program has been a success.
Councilwoman? Rosa
Speaking to the
DeFlorio?
neighbors there, they would be very happy if you do put the flower pots there,
Oh, beautiful.
okay? And the only thing is, we have to be careful in the winter, I
Sure,
guess, with
we'll-
the trucks
We'll
and...
monitor it, there's gonna be plowing issues, but we'll continue to work with our people and.
So if you're, I mean, I hate to put anything else on you, but in the winter, if your guys can go out there and kind of shovel it out a little bit, so that way they see the plows don't come down
Absolutely.
and take
Some-
those planters
yeah,
with them.
yeah. And some of the
okay?
neighbors have our phone number already. We'd be willing to give it to any neighbor that wants our phone number.
Could
If
you,
there's a-
you could give it to us now, and then we
Okay.
could actually have it recorded?
Sure, 617-389-7600, the extension 213, they'll get me, and we'll address the issues.
Your name again, sir?
Larry Burak, B-U-R-A-K. We've been out there with shovels in the past.
All right, so this would be for the residents, the number would be 617-389-7600, extension 213.
Yeah, and if for some reason that I'm
And that
not
would be for
available,
you, sir.
they can hit the 0, and the operator will direct them to Joe Selby.
Okay, so it's either Larry or Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Councilwoman Sonic.
I'd like to invite Melissa back up to ask her a couple of questions. We're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse the customary thanks.
Melissa, where they're willing to participate in purchasing the flower pots, is there certain restrictions that we would have to do before we can put anything there for the flower pots that they're talking about?
I would consider whether or not it's a donation to the city or a donation to the resident. If it's a donation to the city, we have to accept it.
Yeah,
I'd argue it's not, so we can avoid that. And the only other thing I would say is just to make sure that there is enough room on the sidewalk for.
so the city we should have the city doing this then?
Well, I mean, it depends. If they're if they're gonna put it on, it's not a public way. I'd accept it. I'd accept it as a donation.
Except as a donation
Yeah,
that they would have to, because I
right.
think we should make sure we're putting what we need to put out there for certain requirements.
Yeah, there
and
needs to
making
be
sure-
a weight and, yeah.
Right,
So, I would accept it as a donation.
so is there a
Um,
way we can find out what the cost would be and
Sure.
then let them know the cost?
Yes, I can do that.
And I think maybe putting a street sign up first,
We can do both.
start that first.
Why don't we do
So the winter, I know we're not gonna be able to put those flower pots up right now, so. I think we need to get the sign up, that will start the process, and then while we getting the
Okay.
sign, the money, how much it's gonna cost for those pots, and let them know how much it's gonna
Yeah.
cost, and then we can let them know the donation. And I know Mrs. McAreedy, the daughter wants to come up and speak, I believe, and, I'd like to invite them if possible.
Excuse the customary thanks.
I'd like
Could
to
we
invite
have the-
Mrs. McAreedy?
Mrs. McAbey, can we have a motion made on that, and then have a vote,
I make a
please?
motion.
Motion made to have Ms. McAbey approach, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it.
I'd just like to thank everybody for your attention on this, and Mr. Burak and the
Could you
Cappies
Please
folks.
just state your name.
Mary Mangravini,
Address.
17 Prescott Street.
Thank you.
And I think the flower pots would be really tremendous. I think we also need to be aware that in front of 13 is a small tree that they waited years for, and we used to have 2 guards on either side of it. I think the trucks knocked them down, so maybe you can examine maybe putting a guard back up in that little maple tree that's in front of number 13. And we'd be very pleased with the flower pots. I know Mr. Burak has been very kind. When our snowbank has been knocked over, he's always sent men out to get it. But the reality is when the winter comes, those 18-wheel trucks slide down that hill, and it blocks it typically for a long time because they simply don't have the traction. So, I mean, it's just something that people need to be aware, and it's dangerous in that, because that's where the fire trucks come down. And sometimes even when there's nobody parked there, the snowbanks are there, it makes the streets narrower, the hill is icy, and those 18-wheel trucks just have real difficulty, you know, getting up. I mean, I think it's been better, but we have still seen, you know, as they said, tracks on the sidewalks.
Do you think another sign to prevent the so they'll put one on each side, and then we can put the flower pots in the
I
middle
think
after?
a sign or the pots themselves will be of great help.
Because the sign, I think we can put up a lot sooner
Then the
flower
pots.
pots, because we have to get pricing and letting them know and making sure the safety of the, you know, what's under
It's
the ground.
appropriate and that we don't wipe them out when the plows come down the
Right.
street from the, you know, it's just an act of God, because if they're gonna stick over the sidewalk, they might get hit by plows. But I mean, flowers would be much more sightly than a guardrail. We do not want a guardrail in front of our house if we can help it, or a Jersey barrier, whatever it is. And I mean, Mr. Burek has been very helpful, but, you know, pots would be great, and I think we need to do something to monitor the winter, because it's really, it gets uglier in the winter, and then the snow, there's gonna be snow piles there. The street will be narrower, just by virtue of where we're gonna put the snow. So it may become problematic even without parking there in the winter.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse customary, thanks. Anyone else that you'd like to hear from?
I'd like to make a motion,
And your recommendation?
recommendation that we put up a street sign as soon as we can, and
Put up-
also
Put up another,
a street sign, whatever Sergeant Bover feels that was adequate, which should be put there. And then also a recommendation of pricing to get in contact for Cappies, how much it would cost for the flower pots.
and once this pricing comes into effect, you want them to send it to who?
They can work with Cappies. Mayor's chief of staff can work with Cappies.
Mayor, chief.
We'll look into seeing what the cost of the flowers and everything, yeah.
I have a motion and made for a recommendation of a street sign, additional street sign through Sergeant Bova. Also, what the cost and the pricing would be for the flower pots that would be placed on the street. And also, this would be referred to Melissa Murphy, Chief of Staff. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You have done so. Thank you for appearing tonight. All right. Read number
Number two, yeah.
two. What do we want to do?
Item number 2. This is an order to move a bus stop at the intersection of Chestnut and Ferry Street to 174 to 176 Ferry Street.
Count. He's not here. I don't think. Is there a Mr. Curley in the audience, please? Is there a Mr. Curley in the audience? Seeing none?
The sponsor,
Someone make a motion, refer back to sponsor.
second, I'll make a,
So moved. Motion made and seconded to refer this item back to sponsor. All those in favor?
aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. You
Meeting
have
to
done so.
adjourn.
Motion made to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? You have adjourned.